Our final spotlight on stage this evening is filled by contestant 4759 performing Disrespectful.
According to the official NSDA textbook, though the rules for the event may be different in specific states and districts, generally, an original oratory is written and memorized by the performer, is no longer than 10 minutes and 30 seconds in length, and addresses a societal problem. Throughout this text, you will explore how to perform a speech so that it reflects you. I was a freshman when I read that. My speech and debate career really began to take off. My then coach must have recognized something in me. I don't know, the potential to be someone in this event. And maybe he said it because he cared for me, an attempt at making sure my full capacity was realized. Or maybe he was a narcissist who wanted to do well in a strong investment. I'm not sure. All I know is that when he sat me down, looked me in my eyes, motioned to my dreadlocked hair and said, you know, if you want to make it, you're going to have to cut those. I was left at that speech tournament, ironically, speechless. But that's to be expected. Right? That's speech and debate. That's original oratory. Suit's got to be tailored. If you want to make it, hair's got to be appropriate. If you want to make it, you've got to be respectable if you want to make it. And that's the problem. Respectability is a prize that is dangled for the eyes of marginalized people to convince them to sever the connections they have to their communities in favor of a liberation that will never be found. And the role that speech and debate, and specifically original oratory, play in that mission is by enforcing arbitrary rules that work to exclude the students that exist outside of civility. So this is not going to be a traditional oratory. I'm not dressed like a traditional orator, and I don't want to sound like a traditional orator. Because the NSDA only lays out 5 rules as to the way original oratory must look. It must be memorized. It must not exceed 10 minutes and 30 seconds. It must not quote over 150 words. It must have an MLA-cited bibliography. It must be written in the current competition year. Aside from that, all of the other rules that have so often defined the way this event looks are made up. So I am going to perform in a way that reflects me. Less formal and more conversational, to do a 2-part analysis. First, on the way respectability looks in society, and second, the specific grip it has on speech and debate, so we can finally understand the importance of being disrespectful. So I read an article by Michaela Bacan and Alice Warwick titled Performing the Vanilla Self, in which they said respectability operates in 3 phases. First, it takes one big group and cleaves it into 2, assigning specific characteristics to both. The respectable me and the shameful other. I'm a good queer. I don't wear crop tops. I don't make it my entire personality. Girl, I don't even have pronouns. But you know that they, them over there, I mean, they do too much. It's shameful. Really. Second, respectability reinforces stereotypes that both groups suffer underneath because, surprise, they share the same identity. Evelyn Higginbotham, the Southern black church lady who coined the term, used it to tell other black women to perform as sexually pure and modest, to reject the stereotypes of black female promiscuity. But y'all tell me why. In 2017, the Georgetown Center for Law and Poverty released a report where they found, starting as young as the age of 5 and continuing until 19, black girls are more likely to be considered older than they actually are, more knowledgeable on adult topics like sex, and more likely to be punished because of it. So that begs the question, what was all the modesty for? And for the final phase of respectability, I like to think of her as a messy girl with a nasty spirit. And we're all in high school, so I'm sure you have someone in mind. Because what respectability does is she comes around and she says, look, I'm sorry about phases 1 and phases 2, but you can still be respectable. You can still succeed if you can be like that. That is white, middle class, able-bodied, cis hetero, and male. If you can achieve that, you've already made it. But I can never achieve that. You can never achieve that. You can never achieve that. You can never achieve that. So who can? As much as I hate to admit it, my other coach was right. You've got to be respectable to make it. We can cut the bullshit. This event is not as progressive as they would like you to think. You think what? Because Order spends so much time talking about our race, our gender, our bodies, our identity, that this event does right by us. Girl, please. You have to look a certain way, talk a certain way, walk a certain way, act a certain way, and if you can't do that, they won't even let you through the door. And you can forget about the damn stage. To give an original oratory, you must pick a topic you have a strong connection to, but they don't tell you, so often is the strong connection trauma. You must address a societal problem, but you can't pick sides. You can't name the actors in your own oppression lest you offend the judge. And above all else, you can't get angry. Because when you are angry and black, angry and female, angry and queer, angry and indigenous, angry and Asian, angry and an orator, it's simply not respectable. But I'm angry. I'm angry at an event that tells us to perform in a way that reflects us, but doesn't even know who the hell we are. Because if we did tell you, if we did lay it all out on the table, you would have to ask yourself, who do these stories really reflect? Not me. Not you. Who? This speech was my attempt at a solution. I mean, it's logical, right? If you're talking about respect, you get disrespectful. Duh. But it's harder than that. Because first, we have to divest away from the systems of power that enforce the rules that we suffer underneath. The Black Panther Party was able to do it in the 60s, when they started the free breakfast program for inner city children. They didn't ask for money. They didn't ask for power. They didn't ask for respect. They stood in the fact that they were uncivil, and they built community around it. And for those of us who have made it into the room, we have to get a little bit disrespectful, just a little bit, y'all. Because if we don't, it doesn't make space for the students that are continuously locked out. Out of resources, out of opportunities, out of success. It starts with us. According to the official NSDA textbook, though the rules for the event may be different in specific states and districts, generally, an original oratory is written and memorized by the performer, is no longer than 10 minutes and 30 seconds in length, and addresses a societal problem. And throughout this text, we have learned how to perform in a way that reflects us. It's time to stop asking, oh, is this respectful? And instead, get disrespectful. Thank y'all.